Hello, I'm Lawrence and I'm on a quest to uncover all of the memos that Britain and America lost in the pond, and one of those memos pertains to my basement. Literally, it's lost in the pond this morning because we've had a flood, and as floods go, this is a very confusing one because it didn't rain last night. And more confusing still, it's not the side of the basement that's wet, it's the very middle of it. So we need to figure out what's going on, whether it was a burst pipe or somebody just came and injected water into my basement in the night and then fled without stealing anything. So at first I thought that the problem was coming from this washing machine because the water is in fact right next to it, but the trail gives us clues that it is in fact coming from in here. So I walked in to find all of this mess. And all of my stuff magically was outside of the water. Actually, that's a lie. I moved all of my stuff in a panic before I had the wherewithal to make a video about this dramatic situation. Not everything was unscathed. Thankfully though, a lot of the technical equipment that I use for my YouTube channel was just sitting on a table along with Mickey Mouse and Curious George and is largely unaffected by this. My keyboard was on the floor, but thankfully it was about an inch away from the puddle and I managed to salvage it and put it on top of this chair. The other major casualty though is this notepad, which has certain sentimental value to me because it was the first notepad that I used to come up with ideas for Lost in the Pond videos back in 2015. Well, here's I don't think it could be coming from the washing machine because there's just no water attached to that part of the floor.
Right.
We haven't checked the through here in the boiler room,
No.
right? Got the bloody sheet in the way. Oh, yep. I think this is it, Tara. Look at this. It's dripping. It's making a very sort of watery noise, and this leak on the floor is very disconcerting.
Don't worry, I'm calling the plumber now.
Well, you don't have any faith in me to fix this. I don't, to be fair.
Oh, thank goodness. Okay, thank you. Yeah, so they're gonna be here in like half an hour because of the flooding.
Okay. Now, in a remarkable turn of events, this has occurred on the exact same day that we found out that the water tank on our Prius has burst. So now, instead of making you my usual content, we are dealing with two leaking water cylinders. It's like the universe saw the name of my YouTube channel and said, "Ooh, Lawrence, here's a gift." Upon his arrival, the plumber promptly attached a green pipe to the water heater in order to drain out any remaining H2O. As for the heater, which was so old it was installed the same year Fellowship of the Ring came out, its fate had been sealed, unlike itself. So the plumber has told us that the water cylinder is kaput, so needs completely replacing, and we're going to do that through the company that he's come from, and they've given us a decent quote, so we're happy about that. We've put a dehumidifier down in here, or whatever it was I decided this thing is called. For us, the next thing we've got to do is go and get a carpet cleaner, which I'm reliably informed you can get at Ace Hardware. The only problem is our car is in the shop, so we might have to walk the 4 miles to do that.
Really good news. Apparently they got our car done early. So I'm gonna go and pick it up now, and then I think at some point, either today or first thing tomorrow morning, we're going to the hardware store.
I feel like we've spent about half of our year at hardware stores, wife. How do you feel?
Yeah.
And I know what you're thinking. Ooh, Lawrence, hardware rhymes with hard year, which it sounds like something you've been having. But that's not true, because while it has been a challenging year, I think we've had an enormously good attitude about the whole thing. We're at Ace Hardware, and I have to say, if you compare it to some of the other hardware stores that I've been to this year, it's a lot smaller. It has that feeling of kind of like a local, what Americans would call a mom and pop shop. I quite like it so far, but because we're in kind of a rush, we're going to get the steam back, and I'll probably do a tour of this place at some other time. Well, it's all happening now that we've returned from Ace Hardware. We've come to find that the plumbers have removed the cylinder and we're just waiting on the new one to be installed. But before that happens, I want to talk again about retaining a positive attitude. Because while this is the second basement flood we've had in the 10 months that we've been living here, and while squirrels did briefly turn my garage into their breakfast, and while our entire house was completely destroyed in a tornado incident that didn't happen, there are some positive sides to these things. While they're here, the plumbers are going to take care of 2 other existing issues that we've just been putting off. Over the past 6 months, our bathtub reached this point where it just drained really slowly and in a northern British accent for some reason. Additionally, the tap, or as Americans sometimes call it, the faucet in the kitchen, had this indescribably frustrating tendency to come loose every 2 weeks. It would just spin around on its axis and accidentally pour water on the kitchen surface. The plumbers are taking care of both issues today and at no extra cost. There is an extra cost, but at least it's getting done. And because circumstances have found us renting this thing for the next 24 hours, we figured that in addition to vacuuming this mini Lake Michigan that I find myself sitting in, we might as well do all of the carpeted surfaces in the house, starting with this one. Okay, so now that everything from my studio has been squished into this area, including me, it's time to use this device, something that I've never, ever used in my entire life. So to find out how to use it, I did what any self-respecting amateur DIY enthusiast would do. I watched a YouTube video. Apparently, you mix a gallon of hot water and put in some of the cleaning fluid that we bought with this, and you pour that into this section. The dirty water will go into this part, which I'm going to attach in a minute. I hope this doesn't blow up the machine. I think I watched it correctly. So that goes in there. This is in the way, so I don't know how you tip it. Look, that's a right mess. How are you supposed to get the rest in? Oh, it lifts up. Okay, and that goes in there. All right, just fuck it out of the way. And then this, as I said before, is that the right way? Which way do you, I don't know. It has to go that way, doesn't it? The water must come up here and out of this. Get in. Is it popped in all the way? Because if it's not flush, then it's going to come out and we'll get more water all over the floor. Although I am told that that is part of the plan when you're doing this, is to actually wet the floor slightly, but with good clean water, as opposed to terrible water cylinder water that isn't supposed to go anywhere except through the pipes. I'm fine. I am absolutely fine, and I am looking forward to what should be a fairly quick process. I forgot that from the video, they said that you have to go really slowly. This could actually take ages. You also have to keep refilling it as you go, which is fun. Okay, enough of that. Because I respect and love my viewers, I didn't want to show you the entire process, but suffice to say it's done. And don't worry about the noise in the background, that's just these fans that we've laid down to try to dry the carpet more quickly. So far they've done bugger all. Mind you, it has only been a few minutes. In the meantime, I am now hearing reports that there have been developments in the next room. Ta-da! We have a brand new water heater, and I'm going to take really good care of this one because I don't want to ever make this video again. For now, everything's been resolved and or mopped up. And now that my studio is finally empty, I think this is definitely a good time to finally decorate it. But for now, even though you'd think I'd be sick of the sight of water, I'm going to go and have a bath because I can. As for you, why not become a patron of this channel and support everything I do and help me pay for a new notepad? You can do that at patreon.com/lostinthepond or by clicking the join button below. Next time, I'll be returning to my regular British versus American content, and so until then, goodbye.